I am Corey Richard, and I have a story to talk about today regarding a surprise heart attack that I had about a month and a half ago, and what happened and what I had to do. So um, I'm just really grateful to be still alive. What happened was about a month and a half ago, I had done some fasting, some intermittent fasting, and then I cooked some dinner for me and my stepson. My wife was out, she was at a rehearsal, and so I made us, probably not a smart thing to do, some pasta with meat sauce, and it was very spicy and it had onions in it and garlic and peppers and just a whole a whole bunch of stuff, and I ate it, which probably was not a smart thing to eat after fasting. And he went in his bedroom to play some video games. He had his headphones on, and I sat down in the living room to watch a little bit of TV. Next thing you know, I felt this kind of like weird feeling in my chest, like a feeling that I've never felt before. I guess it was on the borderline of feeling like a burning sensation or pain. so that's what I did, and as I was sitting there watching TV, I wasn't sure what was causing this feeling, and I started to look up whether or not I was having a heart attack, because that was one of the first things that I thought, like maybe I'm having a heart attack, because it was a feeling I had never felt before. And so in some of the things that I looked up online, it said, well, if you're having a heart attack, you probably have pain running up and down your arm, and you'd feel nauseous. And I didn't really feel any of those things, so I assumed it was kind of like a gastrointestinal thing. Maybe I had heartburn, in the literal sense of it being from a digestive standpoint. So it persisted for a little bit of time, and to be on the safe side, I took a couple of baby aspirin, knowing that would hopefully save me if it was in fact a heart attack. And I took a spoonful of olive oil, which I had heard, olive oil is good for the heart. And I continued to watch TV, and eventually the feeling subsided, but I still felt like I had indigestion. My wife eventually came home. I told her what had happened. Probably, because I told her I thought maybe I was having a heart attack. Maybe she should have taken me to the ER, but she didn't, because it seemed like when she got home, I seemed to be kind of okay. And we went about the rest of our evening. We prayed, went to sleep. I woke up the next morning, and it was a work day. I actually work remotely, so I did some work, and I just wasn't feeling good. There was something about me that just wasn't still feeling good. So I stopped working, and the other thing that was happening was I was still feeling like a digestive issue, and I was constipated. So another night went by, and we went to sleep, and by the good graces of God, I woke up the next day and told my wife, hey, listen, I'm still not able to go. I'm still constipated. I'm going to take a ride over to urgent care. We have an HMO where we live. It's a group of hospitals and medical offices. It's really big. It's a big HMO. I don't want to really name them now, but I went down there and went to the urgent care department, and I told them the story that I basically just told you guys. And they said, well, just to rule out any heart issues, let's run some blood work and what have you. So the next thing you know, they come out and they say, we're wheeling you to the emergency room. So they transferred me over to the emergency room, because apparently the heart enzyme was in my blood elevated by like thousands of points, where normally it wouldn't be that high. So they they said that you had a heart event. They called it a heart event, probably a heart attack. And so I was checked into the ER, and I got a hold of my wife, told her I was in the ER. She came down, and they did more tests and what have you, and they determined that I probably seemed to have had a heart attack, and I was now going to need a procedure that you guys probably heard of an angiogram, which they do, and then if they see that you have blockage in your arteries, they put stents in angioplasty. I know that my mom had that. So the game plan was they couldn't do it because now it was the weekend. They had to schedule it for Monday, and the place where they had to do it was another one of their sister facilities, which was a hospital, which was in another location that they had to transport me to that Monday. So bottom line, I went, got these tests, and then it turns out that I wasn't a good candidate for stents because according to what they saw, I had anywhere from 70 to 90% blockage in my arteries, in my coronary arteries, in all of them. Now, just to back up for a second, I was shocked because the week before and pretty much the whole time, I was going to the gym, I was working out, I was lifting weights, I was doing treadmill, and I always thought that I was in pretty good shape. The only telltale signs that I know, and you should be aware of it, is I have, as you can see here, a crease in my ear. That's usually an indication, if you have that you could potentially have a heart attack at some point. Now, at the time, I just turned 70. I turned 70 years old a couple of weeks ago, but at the time, a month before that, when I had this heart attack, I was just only 69. So I was, kind of upset because I figured I'd have a really long life ahead of me. I didn't think I was going to have a heart attack so soon. My dad had one, and as it turns out, lo and behold, when we did the math, my kids and I did the math, turns out that he had a heart attack, and consequently he needed bypass surgery around the same age. It was somewhere between maybe 69 and 71 or 72 that he got that procedure done. But anyway, so there were other telltale signs that I found out subsequently of why I probably was not in as good a shape as I thought I was. I had hit my head on a garage door a couple of years before that, and they did a CAT scan, and when they did the CAT scan, they found that there was some calcification in one of my carotid arteries. So that should have been a telltale sign. But nevertheless, here I was, and the doctors told me that the stents wouldn't work. They couldn't do a balloon angioplasty. What I needed was bypass surgery. So now my wife and I were freaking out because, here I am. I just went to urgent care to get something for my constipation, and next thing you know, I'm getting bypass surgery. So they again, at the new hospital that they transferred me to, I again had to wait like several days before they can fit me in to the schedule. And of course, in the hospital, they gave me everything that I needed to prevent me from getting another blood clot and whatnot. So I ended up going through this bypass surgery eventually about a week later, and they put me out for about 6 hours. The procedure took about 6 hours. My wife, she was there, I guess, in the waiting area while they were doing the surgery. And she said she heard the sound of like a bone saw, like a buzzing buzzsaw sound, and it just freaked her out. She had nightmares for weeks after that. But then it took about another 6 hours before I fully awakened from the anesthesia. Thankfully, I did wake up. I was okay. The surgery supposedly went well, and now it was just a matter of time of me recovering. So I ended up being in the ICU, or whatever they call it, in the cardiac department. I forgot what the technical term for that was, but I was there for a little bit longer than than a lot of other people. I had to. There was some digestion issues, some swelling issues, some things like arrhythmia. My heart rate was not it was borderline AFib, stuff like that. So I had to stay there, and I was very, very miserable, in pain, and they had to put a tube through my nose down into my stomach to, I guess, clear out whatever was going on in my stomach. As some of you guys may have had this surgery as well, if you're watching this, so you know that they had to stick like 3 different tubes into my abdomen to go, whatever it is, to go into the heart cavity, wherever that is, and somewhere else, and to get any excess fluid. I'm not sure technically what they were doing, but it was just very, very uncomfortable, painful. Thankfully, my kids, I have 2 grown kids from a previous marriage, they came and visited me every single day, so that was good. And eventually I was able to get discharged from the ICU area. I started to get things that they wanted me to do, sitting upright in a chair and doing everything that I was that they required me to do. And they started to get me to walk, and eventually they discharged me and I came home. And so right now I'm still in the recovery process. I'm doing cardiac rehab, where I'm under supervision, doing certain exercises. Right now it's mainly just a lot of walking. They don't want me to lift any weights yet. Eventually they will. But in addition to the meds that they gave me, the Plavix and the statins and the aspirin and everything else that I needed, I had always been doing research on different supplements that would be good, and I didn't want to really just start taking lots of supplements immediately. I wanted to give it some time, but eventually I started to take some things. And so I've been studying videos from many cardiologists and other doctors and nutritionists and whatnot, and discovering what I need to do now to try to prolong my life moving forward. I've got another maybe almost 2 months worth of recuperation from home before I can really do anything major. So I'm not doing a whole lot, but learning all of the things that I learned and communicating with other people that have been through this. So now I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to know the things that I need to do. Obviously, I don't know, how many of you guys are believers, but I think an important factor was prayer. I am a believer. I believe in God, and I did a lot of praying during the time I was in the hospital and beyond, because, even with the surgery, nobody knows, when their last day is. So I just pray that my life is now extended. I'm thankful to God that He extended my life and gave me a second chance. And I know some of you probably feel the same way. So I attribute a lot of my recovery now, and you can see that I'm getting better. I'm feeling better. I'm not in as much pain, and I'm hopeful and grateful that that I am in this position, and I'm just hopeful that I'll have a long life, and I'm doing everything I can to do that and prolong that. So along those lines, I recently created an app. It's an exclusive app for people that are recovering from open heart surgery, particularly bypass surgery. I had a triple bypass. They originally thought I was going to need a quadruple bypass surgery. Turns out I only needed a triple. So I'm developing, it's not finished yet. I'm developing this app, which will essentially be, it's going to be a support app for people that are in my boat, because I haven't really been able to meet and talk to a lot of people that, that are, have gone through my situation. In fact, I'm the only one out of all of my friends from college and high school that has had a heart attack. Lucky me. If I could only have won the lotto like this, that would have been better. But instead, I won the heart attack lotto, being the first one to have a heart attack at my age. Nevertheless, this app, it's called Cabbage Club, and it's an exclusive, what will be a membership site or app. It's a phone app or on the computer. You can use it, and I'm hoping to invite and recruit no more than 100 people initially to be part of this, and we will have a lot of support. There's a lot of resources on there, a lot of articles. There's going to be a way that you can log in and monitor your food that you're eating, because as you know, there's certain food that we can now only eat and other foods that we can't. So you'll be able to monitor the exact types of foods that you're eating on a daily basis. Keep track of that, keep track of the exercises that you're doing. There'll be forums where we will all be able to communicate with one another with direct messaging. And then on a bi-weekly basis, we're going to have webinars. Maybe it'll be Zoom. I'm not sure where the webinars will be taking place. We'll try to invite sometimes people that are experts in the field of nutrition, cardiology, and what have you. So if you're interested in becoming a part of that, there will be a membership fee that you'll see. It's not going to be free, but it'll be, I believe, well worth it to have this support group between us, the 100 of us. So if you're interested, below this video, you can put the word yes or the word I'm interested, whatever you want to do. I'm not sure if I'll be able to put a link to the app. I guess when it, not yet, but when it's ready, anybody that replied that they're interested, I will send the link to, so you can, take a look and see what you need to do to join us. Anyway, so that's it. If you've gone through what I've gone through, I wish you the best. I hope that you heal, and I hope that you become better than you were before. Okay, so that's all I have to say, and thank you for listening.